Peace, y'all. Evolve Benton here, the Speaking for Profit strategist. And today we are talking about sales with integrity. One of the things that Colin Yearwood always says is that you might not have a sales problem, you might have a self problem. So if you are a person who is a business owner, a speaker, a consultant, and you are trying to get more clients and you're feeling like, oh, my sales process is a little icky, or maybe you've been taught tactics that just don't hold a lot of integrity, today's conversation is for you. So, Colin, I just want to welcome you to Speaking for Profit podcast, and I want to give you your flowers. You really have supported me in not only falling in love with sales again, but really falling in love with the process of serving people. And I just appreciate the way that you serve us in your community, the way that you always bring us together. There's so many folks who have joined my school community because they said, Colin said we should connect. So I just feel like you're a person that always gives. And I just want to congratulate you on just being a phenomenal person. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. What an absolute phenomenal introduction and welcome. It's a pleasure being here. It's a pleasure being around you. The times we've met in person and online. I love how you show up and I appreciate you having me here.
Oh, thank you. You know, Colin, when I was thinking about having you on the podcast, actually, I've been thinking about this ever since I met you. I think I came to a 5-day challenge that you did in Arlen Hamilton's group. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to meet him in person before. And when I met you in person and we hugged and we had such a great conversation, I was like, now I can actually ask him. So I don't know about you, but I'm big on, you know, making it in real life before we bring it online, because I think that it just creates so much great structure.
Absolutely. I think for me personally, I always say if you're within an hour of me and we're friends online, we definitely should connect. I always make the attempt to connect. And I think it just brings that, it makes it real and it goes a little bit deeper when now I actually feel I know you, not I'm familiar with you or I've seen you. I'm not interacting with your personal brand when I'm with you in person. I'm interacting with a real person. So that's always exciting for me.
In real life, who would have known that we had to make time for in real life? Remember, in real life was like the thing we actually used to do, but now we have to actually make time for it. So the other thing I wanted to share, and I should have shared this before we got on, but you got the money green in the background. So is that intentional? Like, were you bringing in the abundance when you set up your office, or is it just something that you did unintentionally?
Unintentionally. Green is my favorite color. I normally would have on a green shirt, but I said, let me do the black on the background today. But green is my favorite color. So when I decided to paint the accent wall in my office, of course it's green. And then everyone mentions either for money or for the green screen. I'm like, all of the above.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So one thing I don't know about you, Colin, is like, how did you particularly get into sales?
I'll give you the abbreviated version of it. I've been an entrepreneur for many years, going back to, I think it's 1997 when the Beanie Baby and the Furbies were hot. I was selling that on eBay.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to 2007. Oh, I made that was an experience to me. I actually sold thousands of Beanie Babies because I lived in New York City. At that time, only Hallmark stores carried them. So most people didn't have access to it. New York City have a Hallmark store every 20 blocks. So I did a lot of walking, I did a lot of connecting, building relationships so I could know when it come into stock. You know, that goes back in the day. Fast forward to now, right? I've always been coaching too. I was like coaching, supporting, encouraging people. But in 2013, I officially started coaching, and quickly I realized that selling wasn't my thing. I would do everything in my power not to make an offer, not to ask for money. And when I did, I felt I needed to over deliver in a way that it wasn't profitable for me. And it may have come off as needy and insecure for the buyers. So I always had a challenge when it comes to selling. And two people in my life really changed that. Like I randomly met someone on a community online, and I was telling him my dreams and goals. And he said, hey, if you want to be full-time at this, you got to learn to sell. Then in that same community, they start talking about mindset. And I started buying into it because up to that point, I believed that anything I wanted was outside of me. I needed to learn more, buy more, do more. And they were teaching a different concept of it's about being, which was kind of different for me at the time. And then fast forward, I enrolled in a course for more than I paid for college. I went to CUNY in New York City.
Oh, wow.
And that course changed my perspective about selling, because I thought selling was something I was supposed to do to manipulate people, take advantage of people, lie to people, say whatever I needed to say. And this course really shifted me and say, no, it's actually a service you're doing. You're showing up with integrity, and it's an extension of you helping people accomplish their goals and dreams. So that was the course I took, and the guy I did it with, he actually gave me an opportunity to sell. About 3 months after the course, he took me to an event, and when we met in the real world, he stole from stage, sent everyone to the back of the room, and I was one of those people at the back of the room, and I ended up doing really well. I was top 2, and I just was me. I was just comfortable being me, coaching and supporting. So that was the evolution, and this was a little bit more context. My first coaching program I sold in 2013. It took me about 6 months to make the offer, because I used to do live workshops in person. People would come, average about 9 people. So between 2 and 20 people would come, average about 9. They would love what I was teaching. I was teaching a lot of online marketing stuff. I was learning. I was just teaching it back and showing people what I was doing. People have asked me, hey, Colin, could you do it for me? Like, no, I just want to show it to you. Made my first offer 5 months in, $175 for 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And I spent 20 hours delivering it.
Wow.
No exaggeration, because I wanted to over deliver, make sure she got value, make sure I wasn't ripping her off. So that's all of my evolution into selling. And fast forward, I think it's to today, I think it's one of the best things you can do to transform people's lives. And in return, you're able to transform your life and have a positive effect on the world.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing the evolution, and also thank you for sharing the sides of the story that some people who are in sales don't want to share, right? Like, I was out here hustling with Beanie Babies. You know, I often hear the story of people that used to do the knives. What was the knives? You remember that?
Cutco knives?
Yep, exactly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all really thought y'all was going to people's houses with weapons, and people were selling it, right? But that's a lot of people's origin story.
Yeah.
And you know what I really appreciate about your story in particular is you talking about the offer, right? Like, you had this setup where you're doing these live events and you did not want to give the offer. So for folks who might be new to this in the audience, what is an offer and what makes it good?
An offer is an invitation to someone to work with you so you can help them transform their lives or solve a problem that they have and you're equipped to solve. Now, what makes an offer really good is a big payoff, is helping them understand the transformation and the benefits that they'll experience because of the interaction with you, because of the interaction with your process. So that's the offer. A lot of people confuse it with the delivery, right? The delivery is how you show up, the things that you give them. But the offer is that invitation into that relationship.
Right. Because I think when people get that confused, then when they do sell, they start talking about all the functions and the deliverables, when it's
Yeah.
really, like you said, about the outcome and the ultimate prize that they're going to get at the end of the rainbow, is like I like to call it, right? So
Yep.
when you put together that offer that was $175 for 20 hours and you wanted to over deliver, I see that a lot in speakers and entrepreneurs. Speakers come to me and they say, Evolve, I want to go speak at this event, and I am going to speak, and I'm going to speak for $500. And I'm going to actually do 2 presentations when I go to the conference, and it's going to take me 90 minutes. So how do we adjust ourselves where we value ourselves a little bit more, and set up boundaries when it comes to these offers? Because you could put anything on paper, right, and say that you're going to deliver it. And I think when you're excited about getting that money in your bank account, the higher that you go up in charging, the more dotted lines you feel like you have to create on what you're going to actually give to people.
You made a very good point there. People feel the more you charge, the more you have to give.
Yeah.
Not realizing a lot of times what you're given already is absolutely valuable. And the way I like to look at an offer, and one of the reasons why we think that way, especially when I did $175, everything I sold was components and my time, and I felt I needed to do everything. one the way I think about offers is not short term. If you have a $5,000 offer and you deliver to the highest level of your ability, and that person is committed to receiving and implementing and embracing whatever you're delivering, would it be valuable to them 5 years from now, 10 years from now? That's about how I look at it, how an offer is valuable. A lot of times we're looking very short term. In 6 weeks, will they make back their money?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then you're going to want to over deliver on components and you'll get antsy about it. But if you're looking, what I'm going to share with you, what I'm going to help you do, it's going to help you deliver on a lot, over a long period of time. And many times in different areas of their lives. And it goes back to selling for me. That investment I made in 2016 has not only paid off for me monetarily, but it shifted who I am as a person. And I jokingly say it, because of that investment, I had the confidence to speak to my wife, who's way out of my league. I use all my sales skills to, to enroll her into a date with me. But those skills I've developed through that course has helped me become a better person, a better father, a better communicator, a better thinker, just overall. Now, that wasn't the promise in 2016. The promise said, hey, I'll teach you how to sell. I'll give you some opportunities to get some reps in, and then, you can go from there. Now, if he told me, well, 10 years, 8 years later, you'll still be using those skills to make a full-time living, I'm like, I'm really concerned about making my money back right now.
Right.
Then he might then feel the urge to, okay, I need to do everything in my power to make sure he makes his money back in short term. So to me, I look at it, when you make your offer, is this valuable to someone a year from now? Is it valuable to them in another area of their life? Could they use this in another area of their life? Could they use this to teach someone and grow from it? So there's multiple benefits to the offer that you're going to make.
Beautiful. For you, you mentioned sales skills that you got, right? And I love that you talked about enrolling your wife, because I feel the same way, right? Like I feel the same way about my wife. I'm like, you know what? I used all this charm. I've been working this charm. I didn't even know I was gonna need it for you, but I've been working this out for years. I mean, things that I used on poetry stages. I mean, when we got married, I wrote a whole poetry collection for her.
Nice.
Just for the wedding day. She was a little bit upset because when she came out to the wedding, she's seen all these random books on the chairs, and she was like, I did not tell them to put that. And then she realized that it was a book dedicated to her.
Top notch.
So, I think it's always funny when I bring this story up, because weddings are a big deal, but especially for the people who plan it, and she did a lot of planning.
Yeah.
But for you, when you think about the skills that you got from that training and that people need to be successful, and we say successful, y'all, and folks who are listening and watching, please write down your questions and put them in the comments. We will definitely answer them. But I say successful, yes, making money, but feeling good doing it, right? Because you could be successful in sales and feel really sleazy and out of integrity with your offers. But for you, what skills did you build, and what skills do you teach others in order for them to really feel confident?
So it's going to go a little backwards, not the typical sales trainer kind of training. Yeah. The first skill I teach people is about identifying what is it about them that's causing them not to show up in the way they need to show up in sales, but also in other areas of their lives. What is that internal conversation that you're having with yourself that is having you feeling insecure, not valued, questioning your worth of your offer, questioning your ability to help people? Yeah, that's the first skill you want to tap into. Tap into that skill of getting in touch with who you are as a person. It's not the sexiest thing for most people, because most people just want, okay, Colin, tell me the sales skills. I want to go and do it. But I can tell you all the sales skills. And if you're showing up as the same person that is scarred and wounded, those sales skills are not going to work. So that's the first thing I encourage people to do, is really tap into who they are, especially their beliefs and the way they think, and try to start a process of learning how to manage that. And there's a lot of books, there's a lot of tools out there to do that. I help with that in a certain capacity. But then moving forward from that, when I find when you're good with who you are, it becomes easier to show up unattached to an outcome. It becomes easier to show up needy. And it becomes easier just to have a conversation with someone and say, hey, this is how I can help. Yes, it's not going to go perfect all the time. Yes, there's times you get off a call and say, I could have done this better. But you feel a lightness and a freeness about how you show up. And that allows you to be patient. That allows you to ask the right question. That allows you to do deep listening. That allows you to challenge people. It also gives you a sense of presence, because not a lot of people have the experience of I do most of my sales are one-on-one sales, either on a Zoom. Recently, I did some on a phone call, but usually it's on a Zoom. Not a lot of people have someone sit down and actually listen to their goals, their dreams, their hopes, the things that have been getting in their way. Most of our friends kind of listen, but just to want to answer and solve it for us, but no one really listen and give you that space to process it. To me, those are the skills that make selling easy, because I don't have to convince you when you had an epiphany in the moment. Like, yeah, I need help. I need to move forward. I need to do this. I need now, my role becomes the person to help you make that decision and to help you create a path forward. So those are some of the skills, just being patient, listening. I'm not a big fan of scripts, because when I look at scripts, it's like I'm an actor, I'm reading, I'm playing a role. I want to play myself. I know who I am. So I need a framework that allows me to just dance in that conversation while I'm being present and giving myself the permission to just challenge people and take a stand for them.
I love that. And that really pans well with sales being an act of service, not just for you, but for your clients, right? When I've had really amazing clients and experiences, Colin, people have thanked me for selling them. Have you ever had that happen before, where a person was like, you know what, I was getting on this call today and I was honestly not going to buy nothing from you, but after this conversation, I feel like I can change the world. Yes, I'm ready.
Yep.
What is the difference, or what is happening on that call? And this is me, y'all, this is me getting my own coaching. What's happening on that call compared to the calls where people don't even show up, or they show up with the camera off, or half present with the kid running around? Like, what's the difference between those two calls?
Most of them say is us, right? Like, when you get in a call and you're fully present, you're unattached, and I don't like to say care less if you made the sale or not. But what I'd like to say, like, a lot of the clients I help, I do high ticket sales for some clients. A lot of those clients, I'm paid a commission, and if I close a deal, I get a sale. But what I realized a long time ago, one sale is not going to change my life. Yeah, one commission, and usually the offers I'm selling is anywhere from $5,000 to $60,000. Usually in the range between $17,000 and $50,000. So making $5,000 would be great, but it's not going to change my life. So I'm detached from that immediate outcome there. Now, I'm not an angel. I know I may look like an angel. There have been seasons of my life where I wanted to make a sale because I had to make a sale. And guess what? I showed up not in the best version of myself. The person may have bought, but they weren't unsure about it. So when you show up in calls where people, and I've had people said, yeah, I didn't come here to buy. I know what you're going to do. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sell you something, man. But let's have this conversation and see if you actually need it. And we go through the conversation because of your presence, because you show up. When you're unattached, you have a lighter energy to you. When you're attached to the outcome, you're needier and you're trying to grab on and everything. You're trying to convince, you're trying to persuade. And then the room gets weird because you start feeling weird. Then they start feeling weird. Yeah. I've had that experience. Look, I'm not the angel. I've had that experience. But one of the cool things with me is most of the sales I've done either is my own coaching sales or for clients. I am not a closer. I'll put that in quotation. I may be wrong with this. I don't want to offend closers. To me, a closer is someone is a one and done. They come in, they make the sale, and they're gone. Every client that I've worked for, every client that I've sold for, I am part of that program. Either I'm doing coaching, I'm helping with fulfillment, and all those are compensated on different levels. But I'm part of the program, and I never want to just come and sell something and leave. Now, because of that, I have a little bit more accountability to be a stand-up guy. Next week, I'm going to a client event. There's going to be about 25 people there at the mastermind. I enrolled at 15. So you think if I was a douchebag on the call, I can walk into that room next week, spend 3 days with
Not at
those
all.
people, and have a good
They
experience?
might poison you, Colin. I don't know. You might not want to drink the tea when you get there.
And let me tell you a quick story about that. A couple years, he started doing this 2 years ago. The first time I went out to the first one he ever did, oh man, I'm getting emotional just thinking about this. He introduced me, and 12 people in the room stand up and give me a standing ovation.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh man, this is what I'm meant to do. Create a space where people can have personal transformation and do it in a way that they feel good about you when they see you out. And by the way, at that time, they invested $25,000.
Wow.
So a group of people who invested $25,000 standing up and give you a round of applause. They're like, oh, I did my job. So that's how you know you're showing up the right way.
And you're doing it with integrity. And I love that you mentioned that you are in the room, right? Because what I was taught in the beginning, Colin, which never felt with integrity with me, was that eventually you want to make enough money in your business where you don't have to do sales, where you can just pay to bring an agency in to do it for you, and you just focus on delivery. And I've hired setters, never a closer. I'm always a closer because I don't feel comfortable with someone else being so attached to my own revenue that's not in my program. But with them not being a part of the educational process or with the clients, there's always that sense of detachment, and also like that sense of transactional behavior that just makes me feel really uncomfortable. So what I love about you and your framework in particular, and the way that you teach us, and I say us because I'm a part of your community, is that you teach us to do it with integrity. And I'm wondering, like, did you learn that from the program that you were in, or do you feel like you learned that because of who you are as a stand-up guy? Like, could you even have been a sleazeball if they were teaching that type of behavior? Or if you would have just been like, I'm bowing out because that's just not who I am?
Let me answer that one first. I want to come back to something though. You see my name on the screen, Colin Yearwood.
Yes.
That's my real name. And my parents, my dad now, my mom has passed away, but my dad would kill me if he knows I'm out here sharing his name and his likeness, doing something that is not in alignment with how he raised me. So it comes back to that. I'm not going to do anything to disgrace my parents. Thus, I'm not going to do anything to disgrace myself. And I'm not going to do anything that make people that I know is not right. Because I want to go into rooms where people would be happy to see me and not run from me. You know, I don't feel this. There may be some people out there, so hey, I bought this thing I shouldn't have bought. But I don't think there's anyone out there that can say, Colin made me buy something I shouldn't have bought. Right. And to an earlier point you made about, yes, the people I work with, I'm a hired gun for them. But the difference is I'm connected to them. I'm in their program. I'm learning their language. I'm learning the program. I'm connected to their vision, because I just don't sell for anyone. And I've had a lot of offers to sell. I've been fortunate. I usually get introductions to work with people. And when I work with someone, it's like 2-3 years and working with the same person. I have to like you. I have to believe in what you're doing. So we have that alignment. Yes, my client, he doesn't get in a lot of calls. There's some calls I get him into, but we are very aligned in how we see the offer, how we see people, how we see serving. And I think that's what is missing a lot of times when you hire an agency. There's someone who's just coming in to sell an offer. And many times they don't put a lot of time into really understanding the offer, understanding the person. It's more about them in the short term, because look, they have numbers to hit. And if they don't hit it, they're out. So it's a little bit different if you're selling your own offers. Yes, you can transition into hiring someone, but making sure that you're aligned with that person and teaching the person about how you want sales to be done in your ecosystem, how you want them to show up. I actually shared this with someone last week. They're about to hire a salesperson. And I said, okay, cool. I totally get it. You're busy. Could you make it a point to review one call a day from him and listen to his language, listen to how he's describing your offer, and be bold enough to correct him and see if it changes? Because a lot of times, yes, it's the easy way to get someone to sell for you, but it does a lot of damage if it's not the right person.
It really does. Because then you'll have people in your program that aren't meant to be there or in your offer, and you got to deliver it, right? So it could get real icky. Colin, you work with speakers and consultants, and that's primarily my audience, y'all. If you are a speaker or consultant, put love or put money in the chat. But go to put money in the chat if you're a speaker or a consultant. And as a part of our sales process, there's a lot of different things we got to do, right? Like you meet someone at an event, or you're sending out some emails, or maybe you're connecting with people on LinkedIn. They see your amazing speech or framework, and they're like, let's get on a call. Get on a call, have a great conversation. You got to put together a proposal. They got to take it back to their team. Then they got to decide if they're going to work with you. There's a contract, or maybe not, or we don't have a budget. Can you take us through like what is a sales process and how you would set that up for speakers to make it a little bit more easeful?
So I think the thing about it is it's a process is usually something that you can execute on consistently. And many times people put things in a process that they don't feel comfortable doing. I think with speakers, you have an advantage because you're in front of them. They're getting to experience the power of your message, experience the power of your delivery. So you have an advantage. It's about doing the hard work consistently. Some people may say, hey, you have to do 20 outreach a day, and that's not you. Do 5. And you'll see after a while, you'll build a muscle. You'll be doing 7 because the 5 will take 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And you'll be doing 7, and you'll be growing out of there. So it's having that rhythm of doing the same thing. The second thing I'll talk about, I think for speakers, it really works, is developing relationships before you need the room. My best friend told me this morning, he did a talk last week, and he got a call from an attendee inviting him to do another talk. How he got that talk, the first talk, it was he had a relationship with this person. And they reached out to him asking, hey, do you know anyone to do this kind of thing? And he mentioned he can do it, but a different version of it, right? But it's when you have that relationship with a group of people, it becomes easier now to follow up, easier to get introductions, and you go through the process. So instead, you can build the top of funnel. You can have a lot of people in the top of funnel, but there's some strategic people you want to build relationships with and go deeper with, because those are the people who refer work to you. As you go down that funnel is not doing generic proposals. I see we have a generic form, and we just plug in the names and we send it over, and not doing a generic proposal. I think that's one of the biggest hindrance. It takes some time, because if you're doing a talk for $10,000 and it takes you an hour to prepare that proposal, is it worth it to you? Would you put that at risk just to do a 5-minute change the name? The second thing I find out, you know, people are guilty of that, right?
Yep, exactly. They just white out that name, put another company in.
Put another company in and just shoot it over, right? It's just understand do a little bit personalization as you go through, even in the emails you send, a little personalization. You know, there could be some core elements with some personalization. The other thing I find works well is not just sending a proposal and hoping that they get back to you. It's having some framing around the proposal. Instead of just, I'll email your proposal. Hey, let's schedule time to get back together. I'll walk through the proposal with you. And, you have a presence there to use your gift of speaking to tell them what it is. They don't have to interpret what it means, right? Most times we'll go straight to the back of the proposal, the last line. How much is it?
Scroll all the way down.
How much is it? Right. That's the first place a lot of people go, right? And they miss the context, because even in just selling anything, when people say, how much is it? Why does it matter if you don't know what the value you're getting? It could be $5, but it has nothing in it. Or it could be $50,000 and everything you desire. Or you just desire, you got to know what's in it. So to me, the second thing is for proposals is book a meeting. I'm a big fan of booking a meeting from a meeting. Hey, let's schedule time. I'll walk you guys through the proposal. Hey, my process is, I just want to walk you through the proposal and give you some time to consider it. And then from that meeting, book another time to follow up. If you have to wait for a committee or a group to meet, get some context as to when they're meeting. When do you guys normally meet? Oh, in 2 weeks? Great. So let's put something tentatively on the calendar. Send a calendar invite, tentative. I'm a big high touch person as you go through that process. The other thing too with follow up is not following up. Did you guys did you read the proposal? All right, because that's all about you. Try to connect to the event in a little deeper way. Hey, Evolve, I super excited. I saw your sales page, just saw the event page, brilliant colors, brilliant branding. How is the planning coming along? Because planning involves you. And then you're into conversation. Versus, hey, I'm just following up to see if you guys got a chance to review my talk. It's a little weak, right? It's a little transactional.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get it this time, they're going to remember how you show up. And let's go for the end. So if you get it, great. I'm a big fan of like selling people, having people sell themselves again. So someone say, congratulations, you. Most times you get it via email, which is cool. If you get a congratulations on, even if you get it on an email, I would recommend doing the same thing. If it's on a call, hey, thank you, I appreciate it. What caused you guys to choose me? Just get some feedback. Or you can ask another one question I really like to get them to sell themselves. What would make my talk even more powerful?
Mm-hmm.
How would you like your audience to feel when I'm finished speaking? Right? You have them sell themselves. Oh yeah, this is how, okay, he's gonna do that. Because awesome. So now you'll have a little deeper alignment with them on that call. If it's a no, when is the next time you're having an event? What's the process for that event?
The follow-up continues. It continues.
Follow-up continues. I'm not a big CRM guy. I know I have a lot of notes on my Google Calendar for follow-up. So if someone tell me, hey, you know what? Now's not a good time. Give me about 2 months. I just put a reminder 2 months. Touch base with Evolve. So the same thing with events. It's just have a follow. I'm a big fan of booking a meeting from a meeting, as I said, but booking a follow-up from a follow-up. Because once you're staying present, opportunities pass planners tables all the time. And when you're present, when you're top of mind, opportunities happen. So those are just some things to add to the process that you share. I'm quite sure you guys share a robust process, but those are little nuances. Now, some people say, hey, man, that's a lot of work. Is it worth it to land the deal? That's why you have to get paid the right fees, right?
I mean, I think it's worth it. And it's also worth it because what you mentioned in the beginning of this was the relationship building. And that's what we teach at Speaking for Profit. I often say in the beginning, you do the most work in your business. But if you establish relationships with great companies and they want to bring you in annually or bring you even in a couple of times a year, you don't have to do as much outreach because you booked and busy, right? So when you're first getting started, you're always going to do a lot more labor. And what I find is that sometimes when people do get booked and busy, they take their foot off of the pedal. And I'm like, no, we should still continue to do outreach. Every day, someone new should know about your speaking business. There's too much technology and too much out in the world. Every day, someone new should know about it. And if you make that a foundation, it doesn't have to be 100 people. It could just be one person, somebody you met at the supermarket. If you make that the foundation, you're going to have relationships that are going to feed you for life. And that's really what we're trying to build. We're not trying to build something that we have to milk all the time and feel tired with. It should be, we should spend most of our time on delivery and actually hitting the outcomes in the proposal so that people want to bring us back, because then we don't have to do as much labor. So
one of the things I want to mention about that, Evolve, sorry to interrupt you, but it's just, there's so many tools out there right now that you can set an alert to get a reminder when an event in your niche becomes available online or is mentioned online. And that's coming to your inbox every day. So you have a reason to show up. And going back one step further, one of the client I sell for, he has a program that Speaking is part of. And someone we had in the program, he did a one-off talk for a prison system. And he did a lot of work to get that talk. And we helped him through that process to land that first talk. After landing the first talk, before he leaves, not a prison system, he was doing it for a local jail. Before he left, the sheriff came up and said, hey, would you want to do this around the state? A month later, he was booked and busy with one client for the rest of the year, going to different prisons around, different jails around the state, delivering the same talk. It was for correctional officers. But the work up front, and he did a lot of work up front to land that one deal. But because he was in the room, as you mentioned, companies are doing events, planners within companies are hearing from other planners, their colleagues and their peers who want an easy route. And if you are that person who is not only good at what you do, but is good interpersonally, that's able to connect with people on a deeper level, the opportunities bubble up. And all those things I mentioned there make sales a lot easier. It's a lot of times you walk in, it's a done deal just because of how you're showing up.
Yeah, exactly. I love that your foundation, when I'm hearing Colin, for sales is number one, becoming the best version of yourself. So that when you show up on these calls or even from the stage, like you have the confidence that like wows the room, but also having like integrity in the process. Cause I think that sometimes people think they could just skip steps, and I love artificial intelligence. We have an AI question in here. This is why I'm bringing it up. I love it, but AI can't outdo me, boo. That's what I keep telling people. It could never outdo this spirit and who I am, right? Like I am who I am uniquely. My parents blessed me with these genes and with who I am. Like AI could never do that. Now, can AI amplify it and make processes easier? No. And what I find is when we try to skip the steps and don't learn the foundations, when we do get a lot of business and then we have to go back, we don't have a framework really to go to. So then we're looking for the next coach or the next person to hire instead of just continuing to get better at the process.
Absolutely. And to be the AI in sales, I love AI. The AI tools are great for helping you. But what I find, and I believe, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, is the same way how Facebook ads is not available to everyone. You can run Facebook ads and you'll get tons more leads. But what's the barrier for most people? The knowledge and the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone is doing it. So I feel the same thing is going to happen with a lot of AI tools that actually do close deals for you. There's going to be a barrier to some level. So why not learn that skill? Because not everyone is going to want to interact with AI tool. Not everyone is going to want to be. And it's really good. If for text conversations is great at qualifying and moving people along. It does I have a client that use it, and it does a great job until it's stumped, right? But I think it's learning a skill like sales is beneficial in every area of your life. And you may not need to use it in your business, but learning how to persuade for good, help people see a bigger vision, sell them into a future that they desire. I think we do it every day. I do it with my kids all the time. We do it to our partners or spouses. We do it at work. If you work in an office, you're selling to your team members, selling to your management every single day to get your way, right? To get something that's beneficial to you, that wouldn't take away anything from them, or would add even more to them. So I think it's a skill that is very, you can shift that skill across any area of your life. I had a client one time tell me, because of her sales training, she's talking to her husband in a more effective way. I'm like, yeah, it helps there too.
Yep, it sure does. It sure does. Well, I have a couple of questions that I got from our community, and then I want to pull some from the chat. One of the questions I got from the community in particular was like, what's the best vehicle for sales, right? Like we learn about like one-on-one, getting on a call, or one-to-many, being in a room full of people, in person, doing phone calls, cold calling. Like, do you think that there's a best vehicle when it comes to it, or do we need different skills depending on which vehicle we're going to drive?
There's different skills for different vehicles, but some of the skills are can cross over. The best vehicle is the one that works for you most consistently, the one that you enjoy doing. Many people feel one-on-one selling is laborious and it takes up a lot of time and things that affect. Yes, it takes a lot of time, but if you're selling an offer that makes sense financially, it may be one of the fastest and most valuable things you can do in an hour. And from my experience, when we do events, our goal is every sales call we have is worth $1,000. So we may have 40 calls per event. We're looking to make sure every call is worth $1,000. So I would get on 10 sales calls to close a $10,000 deal, because each one of those calls was worth $1,000 to me. Now, this is the way I've done sales. I've seen a lot of sales done really well, one to many, using webinars and presentations. That's a skill that you have to develop and build. That's not a skill the same way the skill of selling through conversation. It takes time the same way that skill needs to take time. It's just every method or every way of delivery takes some skill to learn. Cold calling works, but there's a lot of skill behind it. Cold calling is great, especially, I like people who knock doors. My wife doesn't like me for this because I talk to all of them. I say, look, I respect the profession. It takes a lot of courage, a high level of belief to come and knock a door and someone is nasty to you, then you go and knock 5 more. So those are all skills you need to develop wherever you feel you want to develop that skill set and lean into it and become an expert at it. I think if you want to do it with copywriting works too. It's just a lot more volume you'll need in order to convert.
I love that. I love that you mentioned copywriting, because people don't be thinking about the emails and the newsletters, but I see people killing it out here doing that. I'm like, the writing skills can take you very, very far. So our next question from the community was about like pricing and sharing the price. And I get this question. It's like, when do you share it? How do you share it? And how do you decide it? It's hard when we're thinking about pricing. And the interesting thing is with speakers, Colin, I find this, like, I will coach speakers and we have a price for the offer. But then they get on the call and they come back and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, yeah, I quoted them 700. I know we talked about 7,000. So what's your thoughts about that?
So let's talk about pricing first. The thing about it is it's not something that's done in the moment. And you have to develop a certain level of belief and conviction around the investment. If you can tell someone, hey, it's $7,000. But if they don't have that belief and conviction around it, they get into the call, guess what they're going to do? Default to where their belief level is, 700, because that's where they're comfortable. So now it's creating a process where you start to grow into a higher number, right? And also see the value in higher number. When I first started coaching, I didn't think $50. I thought for $50 an hour, I needed to do all this teaching and I got to over deliver. But now I realize a lot of times people are paying for your presence, people are paying for space, people are paying for very precise advice. So they're not paying for by the hour or by the minute. They're paying for the overall value. So if you don't see the overall value in your talk, in how you show up, it becomes challenging when it comes to believing in that. Big fan of practice. Stand in the mirror and say the number. You'll see how your facial expression changes. You'll see you go from excitement to 7,000. Your energy changes. Those are things you have to practice. Those are things I did in 2016, 2017, 18. I had to spend a lot of time fixing my energy around the offer, because people were selling things at price points. I was selling things for clients at price points that I never paid. I'm like, I got to believe this. I have to figure out how can I believe this. So I would walk through the offer line by line with the clients. Why is this worth this much? So I can have the value. So it's in getting that value of your offer, internalizing you, where if someone told you a bottle of water is $10 in the corner store, you're like, no, it's not worth it. But if they told you the same bottle of water is valued $10 in the airport, you're like, yeah, I get it. Right? You see the value is positioned differently. You get it. So the same thing you want to do. When to tell the price? After you share the context, after you share the transformation and benefit. I let people know at the beginning of conversations, yeah, there's going to be an investment. If I think it's a good fit, I'll share with you what the investment is. But let me understand what is it you're looking for, and if we're a good fit together. Is that fair? She said the room. Some people come into conversations and they want the number up front. They'll just tell me how much it is. As I mentioned before, I said, I can tell you the number that you wouldn't know if it's valuable or not. And I shared a story I heard once about chocolate. You can have a Hershey bar, which is maybe $1, $2. I don't know how much it is, right? And it's worth $2. But then you can have the best chocolate made from the top chef in Paris from organic cows and all this fancy ingredients, and the same thing is $100. The value is different because of the ingredients. So when people are hesitant about value and they want to, hey, just tell me the price, I just call it out. Is it the price is most important to you or the value that you're getting? Is the price that's most important to you or how I can actually help you or how we can work together? It kind of puts them back a little bit and give you space now to get into the context of sharing it. Normally, if people are very adamant about the price, it's a hint to me I just start disqualifying because I'm like, okay, nah, this is gonna be a hard time because this is gonna be the kind of person who's gonna nickel and dime me through this offer. This is gonna be the kind of person that's gonna come to the 30-day, refund policy and just send me an email after 30 days. So it's kind of a red flag for me. Did that answer the question?
Yes, it did very, very well as well, because qualifying is so important when it comes to this. We'll have to do that in another conversation because I'm definitely going to bring you back. But thank you so much for framing it at having confidence in the room. Because if we don't have confidence in the room to look across from a person and really say, what is this about? Like you said, this is about pricing or about value, then we probably shouldn't be on the call. But we do have some really cool questions in the chat. So I'm going to bring a few of them up because I want to, y'all, Colin is busy. I'm sure you got a beach to walk on or something. I've been seeing your pictures and stuff. You've been outside
Yeah,
enjoying
I love the
yourself.
beach. Usually on the weekend.
So I think that this is that 7-day daily or 5-day daily? And I think this was what you were mentioning about sending out outreach.
If you have a process to do it daily, it may just take a minute or two because you already have a process. All right, you already have the kind of framing in your head to send something out on a daily basis. One of the things we're in an environment right now is there. In order to be noticed, you have to constantly publish it. So it's either you're publishing every day or you're reaching out people to bring them to the things you've published in the past. Right. So finding room. It may be 6 days. I observe the Sabbath on Saturdays, so I don't really work on Saturdays. So it's up to you. It's what works for you. If you can do 5 days a week and you can hit all 5 days a week, yeah, just find what works for you that you can stay consistent at, and that's the most important thing. A lot of people get in high seasons and low seasons. They're hot for a month or 3 weeks, land a few clients, we're happy. Speaking from experience, been there, guilty, super happy. And then we spend the next 3 months fulfilling. One of the 3 renew. You have a whole gap in your income. And you're like, oh, what happened? I haven't been doing the work over the last 90 days. So it's up to you.
Is there a best practice for how long a sales call should take?
Great question. Not 15 minutes. Look, man, I personally like 30 to 45 minutes. It gives me enough time to really sit in the call and understand what's going on. Yes, you can have pre-qualifying tools and like a form and different things, but I like to sit in the call and really understand what's going on with the person, understand where the need is. So when I speak about my offer, I can customize my presentation to what's going on in the conversation. So that normally happens to me about the 20 to 25th minute, but the 20th minute, 20, 23 minute in a call, because I've been doing this a while. There's a process I follow. I kind of know when to slow people down when people want to talk too much. I'm like, how to reel them back in. And for 30 to 45 minutes, give you that buffer room. So I would book a call for 30 minutes, but I have a 15-minute buffer. Now, when they decide to move forward, I still want to have room on the call to finish the process on the call. I'm never a fan of getting excited and then jumping off. Okay, send me the payment. No. Let's finish this. Let's enroll them. Let's finish the enrollment. Let's coach them through the sale. All right. And what that looks like in many cases. Yesterday, I enrolled someone, and she was, yeah, I'm gonna do this. But instead of me jumping straight to the card, I just paused. Said, a year from now, when you go through the program, and everything goes exactly the way you just told me in this call, tell me what your life would look like. Can I just slow it down? Have her re-enroll herself. She's sold. All right, let's book your onboarding call. Pull up the calendar, book the onboarding call. Great. What's the first digit of the credit card number? How people normally do it, they go straight, the person says yes, they go straight to the credit card, or they send you the invoice. And it's just an abrupt end. So I just want to re-enroll them and give them something tangible. Booking a call is giving them something tangible, and then go through that process. So 30 to 45 minutes. I would say 30 minutes is good, having that 15-minute buffer. And that definitely what works for you. Why I said initially not 15 minutes. What I've seen from most 15-minute sales calls is about me closing a deal rather than me understanding if the person is a good fit, and if I can help them. It comes down like, okay, here's the deal, and you just dive into it. Usually the your conversion rate is not that high.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the 15-minute call is more of a follow-up if you can't wrap it up at the end of the 35, because the one thing you don't want to do, folks, and Colin, you'll probably say this as well, you don't want to say the call is 30 or 45 minutes and try to make it an hour. Like, I think it's really important to respect people's time.
So let's mention two things about that, right? Is 15-minute calls are good for discovery calls and qualification calls, because we can get to know each other, see if you're a good fit, and let people know, hey, we'll see if we work together. If we're a good fit, let me see. I want to learn about you. If I think I can help you, let's talk in another call. We book another call. Now, about we're respecting people's time. This is something I learned years ago from a guy named Rudolfo Rodriguez, is acknowledging when you're late. We get on a call, we may be a minute or two late, and we just take it for granted. We don't acknowledge it. But that definitely shifts the energy, right? But if it happens, sometimes if you're doing back-to-back calls, things happen. So I always make it a point if I'm late, it's like, hey, first off, I just want to acknowledge I am about 2 minutes late. I hope it wasn't an inconvenience to you, and it wasn't intended to cause you to worry about me if I wasn't going to show up. Usually 99.9% of people are gracious. And I just recommit to them, hey, the next call, I recommit to being on time. Now, if I say the call is going to be 20 minutes or 30 minutes and we're running late because there's a good reason, like I'm enrolling you, we're about to enroll, I acknowledge it. I just want to acknowledge we're coming up on 30 minutes. Is the next 10 minutes good for you so we can finish up this process and get you started? Again, 99.9% of people are yes, right? And you just acknowledge it. Or even if you're not in the enrollment phase and the call is going long, hey, we come up on the end of the hour. Do you have an extra 10 minutes for us to finish this conversation? And you just acknowledge it. It just shifts. It positions you as someone who cares. It positions you in leadership. Just start hiding from the obvious, and it positions you with a lot of integrity, which helps the deal.
Ashe. So I'm going to do it with you, Colin. I know we're pretty much at our time for today, but we do have one more question. Is it okay for me to bring that one up?
Absolutely. You're amazing.
I practiced. I didn't know I was going to get sales practice out of this. I love this.
Yeah.
Is the first sales call a free call or a paid call?
Great question. You must have the right intention for that first call. Because if you're scheduling a free call with the intention of enrolling them in their program, it becomes weird. My suggestion is if your mechanism of enrollment for sales is sales calls, the call is always a free call, but the intention has to be set at the beginning. Hey, we're going to spend the next 20, 30 minutes together, learn about you. I'll ask you a few questions to really see what's going on in your world, if I can help you. And at the end, if I feel I can help you, I'll share with you how we can continue to work together. Right? You set the expectation. I recommend a free call. I see some people that do paid calls, and what I've heard from clients who've done paid calls, I don't want to waste my time. Well, with that energy, you're not going to close out the deals. And usually when you have that energy, your price point is not appropriate for your time. So it's up to you. I've had discovery calls, which were free calls, shift into people asking me, hey, how can I work with you? How can I join your program? And I would pause and say, my intention on this call to share with you is just to learn about you and understand what's going on in your world. If it's okay with you, we can talk about the investment to continue work with me, right? You want to acknowledge it. So it's up to you. If it's a free call, make sure it's a free call. and book into a second call. The deal I closed yesterday was a 2-call. Did the first call, give some homework. They came back on the second call, closed the deal. So one other thing I mentioned with paid calls. If you're running a challenge or you're running a conversion event, like a challenge, a masterclass, a webinar, those types of things, you're doing it in person, like you did an in-person event, and the next step is for them to book a call. That call is about the offer. I would never charge you. When people get on that call, you'll definitely be offering them something, sell them something. So I would never offer a paid call up front. Because as I mentioned before, if you look at the math, if you have a $10,000 offer, or let's even say you have a $1,000 offer, and let's say you're new to this and you have a $1,000 offer, and you've done 10 sales calls and you only closed one deal, you were paid $100 an hour, and you got 10 opportunities to become better at selling. Now, if you charge someone to get on a call, you may end up getting 3 calls. And a lot of times they're going to come on the call with the expectation for you to solve a problem because I just paid you. And it may be a $30 problem. They paid you $30 to solve a $30,000 problem, right? So it's my recommendation. The first sales call should be free. There are spaces. Can I share an advanced tip?
Yes, please do, y'all. Y'all put money in the chat if you want this advanced tip. Colin is giving all the gems tonight. Yes.
Here's an advanced tip. Here's how to have people. The way I'm going to say it is not the way it's intended, but one way you can have people pay for their sales call is by offering them a call, offering them a paid call and delivering something valuable. So I had a client recently. She did a free workshop. She had a $197 offer for a 4-week group thing she was doing. And then behind that, she had a VIP offer for another $197. She made a couple, I think it makes like $6,000 off of that. 35 people enrolled, like 18 people did VIP. Now, the VIP she delivered at a high level, but that became a sales call too. Because she delivered at such a high level, she asked the question, would you be interested in learning how we can continue this kind of work together? And 3 people said yes, 2 people enrolled in a $6,000 program. So that's one way of having someone pay for a sales call.
I hope y'all pick that up and put that down. I hope it's in your notebook, because that was real game. That's something that we probably would get on a paid call with you, huh, Colin?
No, I tell you the big thing, man. We can get on a free call with me. The cool thing when I make my free calls, they're like paid calls, because I know the more I serve, if I serve in a powerful way, the numbers say so many people are going to enroll with me, and the numbers also say so many people are going to introduce their friends to me, because I look, he sells stuff, but his free call was good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, which always makes the process fun. Colin, it has been truly a pleasure. I want to know what you're working on and how we can support you. Like, what's going on in your life? I know you have this amazing school community that we're going to put the link to in the description here, but any other ways that folks can work with you, stay connected with you, please share.
So the best way people can work with me is actually join my school, because it's an opportunity to see how I show up on an everyday basis. And if you connect with how I show up in that ecosystem, we can always jump on a call. My first calls are always connection calls. I love to know people. I love introducing people to people. It's just in my brain to do that. So school.com/coaching, and you can find me there. ColinYearwood.com is my main hub, but they just have links to where else you can find me. Other than school, I'm actually relaunching a new course in school called Your Next Client Sprint. And it's focused on a 4-step process of helping you enroll your next client. Other than that, continue to do some great work with Arlen and a couple of clients I work with one-on-one. But I take all the work that I do, it helps me to synthesize all that information and distill it to those that connect with me in school and in other areas like this. So thanks so much for allowing me to share that.
We got some roses for you in the chat too. Colin is a great coach. I know because I'm in his private community, you will learn how to sell without being pushy or salesy. Look at that, Colin.
Look at that. Thank you. That's why I do this work, man, because it feels good when it feels good to know you're having a positive effect in people's lives. And my big thing is I want to have a ripple effect in the world. And I know I'm not able to do that by myself. So if I can show up in a positive way and empower other people, that allow them to do the thing that they want to do, and they impact people that I never met, man, that's amazing.
Yep, it sure is. Y'all, thank y'all so much for using your most valuable resource with us, which is your time. Being here live, showing up in the space. If you're watching it in the replay, the comments is still going. So show your love in the comments. We will have more conversations about sales and strategy when it comes to being an amazing speaker and a consultant. Because what we know is this: if you have a message and it's not on a stage and it's just in a notebook, then it's not moving anybody. And what we want to do as Speaking for Profit is help you move the needle and help you change the world. So I appreciate y'all. Please continue to watch videos on the YouTube channel. Check us out on School, and make sure that you go to Colin's community. The link is in the description. You should be clicking now, going on and joining. And when you join, let us know that you found us on YouTube and you were like, you know what, this was an amazing conversation. I have to join the community. All right, Colin, thank you so much for being here, fam.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Peace, y'all.